Hey guys, it's Linda Winter with another Winter Designs template project. So, Microwave Bowl Cozies. You guys have seen my videos before. If not, I've got a ton of them. But I'm hoping this video will encompass everything you need to know about Microwave Bowl Cozies. And that means microwave, and that means not only in the microwave, but also cold food that you don't want your hands to get cold. And it also means plates. So, microwave bowl, but plate cozies too. So I'm going to show you how to do that and lots of variations too. All right, so y'all know about the no-slip material. If you don't, this stuff here on the back, sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's gray. This stuff grabs. You can see how that grabs. So when we turn, we're going to get exactly what it is we want to get. This stuff is going to give us accuracy, consistency. A lot of you have made microwave bowl cozies and you maybe started with a 10-inch or a 10.5 inch. That's what I did way back when. And I basically folded in half, and then I did a dart, and I did a dart, and then I folded in half in the opposite way, and I did a dart, and I did a dart. And I did that again, and I sewed the two together, the top and the bottom. I gave a bunch of gifts, and nobody commented. Nobody said they loved them. And then I found out because they didn't look that good. So I decided, based on a lot of customer requests, hey, maybe I should make a template for that, because I was using acrylic, and acrylic, it slides. So whether it's a ruler or a square or whatever, when you go to cut, you get that inconsistency. And again, when you're folding, you get the inconsistency. I want to give you the consistency. That's what you get here. This guy here, this is a little guy. I'm just using that as an example. But I mentioned the 10-inch. There's the 10-inch that I have here, and the 10.5 inch. Those are my popular ones. They're the most common sizes. Why a 10-inch? Layer cakes. Layer cake fabrics that you already own, that you purchased, this is perfect for that. 10.5 inch, though, really is better for most of your bowls and things for cereal and for soups and those kinds of things. Then I had people asking for squares, and that's what you see here. So the squares, I've now got a 10-inch, a 10.5, and a 12.5. So I'm going to show you some projects with those, but I want to come back to this. 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 12.5, 15. I'll show you projects with these two so you can get an idea of the size. And then I'm going to give you how to know which one to use based on the bowl that you have. So if you are new to the world of cozies, welcome to something that is going to become very addictive, because once you make one cozy and you start giving these as gifts, people are going to be asking for them. I've done the rounded corners because it stood out a little bit from the pointed corners. You can see here when I picked this up, I've got enough fabric, or enough fabric to grab. So imagine I didn't have sewing tools, but it really is great for everything, not just for the microwave. But imagine I had soup in here and I wanted to take it and put it in the microwave and then take it out of the microwave. If I put this in the microwave, ow, I'm going to burn myself, or maybe I spill whatever is in here. So the cozy just gives you something to hold on to, and if it does spill, then no big deal. This is washable. It's safe for the microwave, and it's safe for your washer and dryer. So I'll tell you what kind of fabrics, what kind of batting you need to use too. Okay, so let's get, I'm going to grab this fabric right here that I have here is a little bit smaller than 10, so I'm going to grab my 9.5. You notice what I've done. I've gotten cotton fabric and cotton batting. Now I say cotton batting, I need to specify for you guys that have made these before. 100% cotton batting, no scrim. No scrim is the big deal. If you put microwave bowls, these guys with food in it, in the microwave, and you've used batting with scrim, you may have a little bit of a fire. If you use thread that isn't 100% cotton thread, you may have a little bit of a fire. It's all based on the thread and the type of batting. And then also no metallics. We don't want metallics. Cotton fabric is perfect for that. So 100% cotton batting, no scrim. Scrim is a layer on the top that you can actually feel. If you really kind of push on it, you'll feel it's kind of holding everything together. It's like a glue, and that glue will will catch on fire potentially in the microwave. Okay, so I've got my cotton fabric right side down. I've got my batting. There is a right side and a wrong side to batting, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to be cutting one set of these and we're going to cut another set of these. You can use pretty much any rotary cutter that will allow you to go along the edge. I'm going to cut. Now, when I turn this, you can see how that fabric stays with this. And what I'm going to do is just cut and turn the template. You notice I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to moving the fabric. I just want to make sure I'm not hitting something else because I've got my table full of stuff. You're not going to do that when you use these, but the idea of the fabric staying with that template is a big deal. I'm going to go back and make sure that all those corners are nice and rounded off because we have rounded corners. Now, throw all the little scraps away. Do not pick up the template because we need to mark. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dots that are my X marks. You'll see what that is later on. What I'm doing is I'm going up and down with the pen. The pen does not have enough to really affect the microwave. I like this pen, these cheapy pens that you get at Dollar Tree or a hotel. When you stay at a hotel and they give you those freebie pens, go ahead and grab a couple because they're perfect for that. I do not like the clicker ones because they're not deep enough inside to get down into that hole. We've got not only the black and the tan or the black and the gray that we need to get through, but I need to be able to mark, and we're marking on the batting. We're marking on that batting because we're going to be stitching along these lines. I mentioned the X marks. That X mark is going to keep my batting and my fabric together. And these that I'm doing right here, these guys here, there's 4 of them. I've got one more set to do. These are darts. And those darts are going to allow me to get, for a bowl, the perfect dart. Or for a plate, the perfect dart. So I can adjust this for steeper bowls and for narrower bowls. All right, I'm going to lift this up and you're going to see that I've got some dots there. I want to connect the dots. I make a ruler that's 2.5 by 15.5. You can use whatever ruler you want, but I like this one because it's almost long enough for all of them. Not long enough for this guy, maybe not long enough for that, but I can move it down. This dot here and that dot here, I want to line them up. I'm going to line up on my mat because when I place this down, and again, don't have all the other stuff on your table when you're doing this. There's a dot, there's a dot, there's a dot, there's a dot. And what I'm going to do is line that up. I'm not going super dark. I just want to be able to see because we're going to stitch on this. All right, you can barely see that. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to line up the dot. I'm using this mark and I'm using that mark. And what that lets me do is just kind of make everything nice and straight. Now we're going to do the X dots here. And then you can decide if you want to do your darts. And I'll show you what I mean. I've got a dart, a dart, a dart, a dart. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line that up along those dots. And we're just going to line them up there. You do not have to do this. But if you're new to sewing or if you're new to doing cozies, then this is not a bad thing to do. Do you see how that dot, and that dot, those are going to be my guides. When I fold this in half at the sewing machine right there, where that dot is, that's going to be on the side. And then I'm going to line this up and line that up. When I line those up, my edges will line up evenly as well. And we're going to stitch on that line. Now over here where I don't have the lines, I'm going to show you what it looks like without those lines. I have the dots, so we're lining that dot up on the side, and I'm looking here and I'm looking here, and you can see right here that distance is pretty much the same as that distance. And then I would basically imagine a line right there. Now the darts that I have here that are built into this template are for your standard bowls. Standard bowls. Let me just show you. This is not a bowl. Do you see that plate there? I still have darts, so I want to be able to adjust. And that's what's so great about the template. I'm going to grab something higher. You can see here this bowl a whole lot higher, and you can see these darts are higher. So when I did this one, I made those darts a little bit deeper. I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm going to show you how to do this because that's the beauty of these templates. They do sell templates that are similar to mine. Doesn't have the no-slip material. If you find something with the no-slip material and those dots that are there, those holes, somebody has knocked me off and violated my idea. They should not be doing that. But there are templates that have this cut out. That's great if you just want one type of bowl. But if you want to do a plate, or you want to do a bowl, and I've got a bunch of samples that we're going to look at to see how they all vary. Think about your kitchenware that you have. They all vary. So I want to be able to adjust with this. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to stitch, we're going to stitch, we're going to stitch. Before we do that, we're going to stitch the X's. Then we're going to stitch around. I want to pull over 2 samples for you. And you'll notice I'm going back and forth from the curved to the square. I really like doing the mixture of the two just because I think it adds some really nice variety. Do you see the stitch lines there? And you can see how that batting is going to stay together. When I pull this over here, I've got the stitches. Those are my X marks. I've got my darts, but do you see right there? If I go to sew these together, and this is on the bottom, and this is here, I may not know, let's get this the right way, I may not know when I go to stitch that this fabric here has been tucked inside. And when I go to turn that right sides out, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So it makes sense to stitch along here. So we're going to do that too. We're going to go to the sewing machine. And the sewing machine is going to vibrate a little bit because we've got a floor that's not quite consistent, but that's okay. I think you all will get the idea. Now, if you have a sewing machine like mine that eats up the first inch or so, we're going to stop a little, or we're going to start a little bit further down from that corner. All right, I'm basically looking at that line. And using it as my guide. Now, I'm not really sitting behind the sewing machine, so I'm kind of guesstimating where I am, but I want you all to be able to see. All right, so we have done our X. That X, the reason why we want the X is we want, let me get that thread cut. We want this fabric and this fabric to stay together. If this does go in the wash, you know, it's great to throw it in the washer and dryer when you've got marinara or whatever on there, but I don't want this to be a big mess either. Now we're going to stitch around, and I'm not going to stitch all the way around just because of time's sake, because I have so many things that I want you want to see, but I'm going to turn it over because your batting moves around on you. All right, you get the idea of what I'm doing? Let me show you what I mean. Your batting moves around. Your batting, let's take a look at this one over here. I did this one earlier, and I didn't do the X marks. I wanted you to see. Do you see right here how thick that is here? But look how narrow it is there. When you go to stitch, batting and fabric, they're 2 different types of materials, so they're going to be moving around. So if you do those X marks first, that's going to hold the top outside, or this could be the outside here, it could be the inside, and the batting together. And then we'll stitch all the way around. Okay, once you've stitched around, then let's look at those dots and the darts. Let's take one of them we've already stitched, this right here. What I'm going to do is fold that in half, and I'm going to look for that dot, just like we looked at before. I want that to be on the edge. Let me line it up incorrectly so you can see what I mean. Do you see how I shouldn't see that on the top? It should be right there on that side. And when I have that on the side, these guys are going to line up perfectly because of the beauty of the no-slip material. We're going to stitch here, but I want to start right here. That just gives me a little bit more security. We're going to stitch back that way. And I'm just going to do a couple of these so you get the idea. Now, I do recommend back stitching just because there is going to be stress at this, especially up here when we sew these together. Now, that's the one that I didn't draw those lines. Let's find the one that I did draw the lines. Oh, and that's one of the sides that I didn't sew together. So we're going to do this one here. And the idea again is I do recommend stitching at the top. We're just putting everything together to hold it in place. And I'm looking at the dot that's here, and I'm looking at those guys on the front and on the back. And we're going to start at the bottom. And I don't remember if I back stitched on the other one or not, but you get the idea there. All right, so I've done this one, I've done this one. I really recommend you do this one and you do this one across the way. This one and this one across the way. So that way you can test to see how does this fit. Do you see right here, if we had stitched that, I'd be able to tell. That fits well or it doesn't fit well. Do I need to adjust more or not adjust? So we're going to go ahead and adjust one more, do another dart, and we'll take a look at that bowl. And then I want to show you how we'll know which size template we need for particular bowls. Because you may want to buy all of these and you may want to buy the squares and the rounded ones, or you may just want to buy exactly what it is you need. So we're back at the sewing machine. We're going to get to that dot on the edge. And we're going to get to those edges. And again, we'll back stitch on a real project. I'm not going to here because we're just doing this as a little sample. We're going to come over here. And we're going to line that dot up on the side. And look at those dots there. Cut your threads, you know, all those things that you do that you don't not do when you're on camera. You know, you should do it. All right, so what are we looking at? We are looking at this. We've got a dot that makes the darts. We've got dots that make the darts. We've got dots that make the darts. When I place this inside of here, do you see how this right here, I can see it's kind of loose, but it's pretty okay. Let's find out if this is the best size for this bowl versus this bowl. So what do? We need a measuring tape. We also are going to need this, potentially, maybe, maybe not. All right, so we're going to measure our bowl to figure out what it is that we need. So we're going to do from edge to the bottom across to the other edge. Let me pull those numbers up so you can see. So I'm right at the edge. I'm going to walk my finger down, and I put my finger right inside here. I hold that down. I'm going to walk across to the other side. I put my finger down, and I'm going to come up to the top edge, and I've got 8.5. 8.5 plus 2. I need the 10.5. The 10.5 here. You can do 8.5 plus 2. You can do 8.5 plus 1.5, whichever way you like. 10 and 10.5 are so close together that this one works out pretty well for either one. Let's go to this little bowl and see what we have here. So we're going to go from the edge all the way down to the bottom and just walk your fingers across right to the edge, and you can see here we're at 7. 7 plus 2, or maybe a little bit less than that. So 7 plus 2, we're at 9. So we have 8.5, and we have the 9.5. So which one do you do? We're going to take this one because this is a good one to show. I have over here, let's take a look at this, and you can see that guy right there is 8.5. So I'm going to put that aside. And I really just wanted these two. Do you see that one? There's my 8.5. And here's my 9.5. So what we're going to do is look to see which of these will fit better for this cozy. And honestly, when you're this close, it's not that big of a deal. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to pinch here and pinch here. I'm taking the dots and I'm going to hold those together. I'm taking the dots and I'm going to hold those together. Do you see why I say sew those together? And do you see how loosey-goosey that is and how floppy that is? We might think that this is tall enough, but it's certainly too loose. So what that means is when we get to the sewing machine, we're going to take a little more here and a little more here. And do you see what that gives us? It's a tighter fit, a better fit. Let's go to the 8.5. We're going to take the 8.5. We're going to grab those dots and put them together. We're going to grab those dots. We're just guesstimating. And do you see how that looks pretty good? That one looks really good. So you can see if you're going to buy one template for your bowls that are this size, then that 8.5 one, that's what this one is, that might be a really good one. But my guess is you don't have a lot of bowls this size. So I want to show you how to take one that's too large. This is the 9.5. And remember that was a little bit not only loosey-goosey, but taller too. So over here I have the 9.5. I want to show you right here, this stitch was where those darts are. So where these are, that's what I stitched first. That's what I have here, that's what I have here, that's what I have here. And that's what I have on this one. You can see I still have one more side to do. Let's place this inside, and you can see by this stitch and this stitch and this stitch, those three, I have one more to do, that we're going to go from loosey-goosey here, where this is just too big, to fitting pretty nicely. Do you see how that fits pretty nicely? This is still big here, but if I'm going to the microwave, to my couch, and I want to have this on my lap, when I finish that last dart, that's going to fit pretty well. So let's also look at another bowl. Remember this big bowl? Let's see how that fits. Look at that. That's a perfect fit. So do you see how by changing the darts, I can go from being too loose, you know, if we go back to this one, you know, that fits pretty well there, but we go back to here, let's grab this one. Do you see how this is just too big? If I tighten those darts up, do you see how I can make this fit? So if you've got a whole set of dinnerware, this side, this curve here, this angle here, then being able to use those darts to tighten up. So how did I know how much to tighten up? Because over here, when we look here, these two here, that one, actually these three, and that one I hadn't done, all I did was take my hemming ruler, and I'm just going to place this here, and we're going to find that pin, and I'm going to do a mark. Really? Let's see if I can grab that. Okay, right here. And all I'm going to do is basically stitch from here down to here. You can draw a line if you want to. We're basically going to take the straight edge if you want to do that and draw your line to stitch, or you can just imagine. All right, so we're going to stitch that up, and then this is going to be a perfect fit for these. And I say these because these two bowls are not at all alike. These guys here, you can see that one fits in really well compared to this, but they both are going to fit nicely inside of here. Do you see that? That fits nicely in there. Now it's only one layer. This is only one layer, but you get the idea. See how much deeper that is? That's okay. All right, so let's look at, once we've adjusted for a taller bowl, let's look at what we would do for a shallower bowl. Okay, so a shallower bowl, back to here, a shallower plate, I should say. A bowl, you can have a shallow bowl, you can have a shallow plate. So right here, you can see here, this guy here, when I look at that, do you see how when I grab those dots to put them together and I put them together, it's not going to sit in there nicely. It's just not going to work. So what do? We grab that hemming ruler that we have, and we're going to measure from where those dots are inside. And you may use the same width here and do a mark, you know, if you want to do that. And if you want to do that over here, there's not a lot. So you can imagine we're basically going to be going like this and like this. And I'll show you what that looks like. So that right there to work with this. And again, you might use this one or you might use this one. Let's go back and look at this. This is a square one. And do you see how that sits nicely in there? So if I've got cookies, if I've got whatever kind of piece of pie or something, and I want this here and I don't want the ooey gooey stuff to get on me, now it's sitting nicely in this plate. So when we go to stitch those together, we're basically going to be stitching from here. So we're still going to that dot on the side, but now we're looking here, and we're just going to stitch a little bit. So when we stitch that little bit and we do that over here, we're going to test that out, those two here, and basically we're able to see if it fits in there. And then once we know it fits, then we'll do the other side. So let me show you a couple of those too. I've got some samples over here, if I can find them. Let's actually go through some of the samples I have in front of me, and then I'll show you some over there. Okay. So whatever dart you're doing, whether it's a taller bowl or a narrower bowl, this guy here, once you've done your darts, we want to trim. And when we get to them on the table, I'll show you those options. What are we doing? We're trimming off the bulk here. We're trimming off the bulk. You have 8 of these you'll be trimming off. Don't trim too closely because this is where the bulk of the weight of that soup, of the marinara sauce, of the pasta, of the whatever it is going to be sitting. So I've got this here. This is my standard bowl. So again, you can see this isn't a standard bowl, but it's still going to work for that. We're going to grab right sides together. Turn that right sides out. We're going to go here. You're going to pin, 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 or clip, clip, clip. Totally up to you. I don't care how this sits in here. What I care about is lining up the edges. So I'm going to go this way. A lot of times you'll find it sits better one way versus another. Or you might even do this. It's really not going to make any difference because you're using the template that's going to give you that consistency. Pins or clips, whichever it is that you like. And I've got pins right here, so I'm going to grab these, and I've got a dowel pin. So I'm going to grab on the side, I'm going to grab at the corner, I'm going to grab at the side, I'm going to grab at the corner on 3 of the 4 sides. And because this is square, I've really got nice straight lines that I'm working with. On the curves, we'll be paying more attention to those curves. So we're going to pin around, and I don't care, again, what's happening inside. All I want to do is line up those edges and those darts because the template has done the work for me. It's given me the consistency. When we get to this next side, let's see how far I've gotten here. Look at that. I stabbed the pin with the pin. I had a button on there, and I stabbed the button. All right, we're going to grab that here. Have you all made these cozies before? Have you made it with the templates? It's a world of difference. I hear from you guys all the time. I get phone calls, I get emails, I get pictures. I love when you send me pictures. It's so much fun. At the trade shows, when I worked to the trade shows, I had people coming up to me all the time with pictures and say, oh my gosh, I have to tell you what I'm done. Okay, remember I said 3 of the 4 sides. So what did I do? I put a pin here. So now what I want to do is come back and change my pin. Right in here. Do you see the direction of the pin? That's basically going to tell me this part from here to here is where I leave open. And we're going to leave that open, and when we stitch this down and we turn that right sides out, this part right here is the part where I'm going to turn. So we would stitch, and you can start wherever you like. If you want to start at one of the darts, if you want to start at the corner, totally up to you. We'll stitch all the way around. When we get to here, we'll leave that part open. I'm not going to do this here because you guys have seen me do this before, and it's just like 2, other things that you're putting together, right sides together and flipping. When you do the curves, you've really got to do a good job of pressing out because the curves are going to look really ugly. So pressing is going to be a big deal. That's where a little iron, I love my little iron. This little iron right here, I love this guy because it gets right in there. You can even use a little oven mitt or something and hold your hand with the oven mitt here and press, press, press. So the little oven mitt is going to protect your fingers there. So stitch around, flip that right sides out. Whether it's straight, whether it's curved, you get the idea. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Let me get these out of the way, and I want to show you some of the other options that I have over here. I think this is the pile where I have some of the different sizes and things. Okay, so this guy here, you can see that's basically where we were. This is with the curves. Let me grab this so you can see how nicely that fits in there. See how that fits great in there? Curves, you want to have enough fabric and enough fabric to be able to grab when you go from the microwave or to wherever it is you're going, to be able to hold that nicely. When you've got the straight edges, you have a little bit more. That's great for that too. All right, so we've got a bowl here. I've got a plate here. Do you see how the plate doesn't sit in there? It's squishing everything down because of the dart. So let's take a look at this one. All right, remember when I said I'd find the sample to show you? Do you all see right here? That's the dart. That's the dart. It's not much. Not much at all, but let's take a look at that. I love a theme, so my lemons with my lemons. So do you see how that fits nicely inside of there? So this guy here, what would we do? We would do the same thing here. We'd go back, and instead of stitching from here to here, we're going to stitch just barely. Take that dot, line them up, but you're going to just stitch basically from here to right inside there, basically that little bit, and that's going to hold a plate. Plates are not flat, but they're sure a lot flatter than a bowl. But do you see this bowl? This is a lot flatter than this big bowl. That's why this template is so good, because you can play with this. Remember that fit there. How would we adjust this one for this? We'd go back in and basically take a bigger bite. You know, we'd stitch this here. We'd stitch that there. Because we have those darts that are there for us, see how I can grab and kind of get an idea of how much to adjust. Same thing with this one. Look how much I'm going to need to adjust for this. Do you see how much of a bite? Can you see that amount of fabric? Can you see that amount of fabric? I like, when I'm doing this, to work on this side so you get an idea of how much you need to grab. You can even put a dot and a dot if you want to let you know where you need to grab. Make it a little bit looser rather than tighter, because you're going to be turning right sides together and it will shrink in the turning process. So you get the idea of adjusting for steeper bowls, for shallower bowls, and for plates. All right, so let's look at a couple other things. Oh, here's the curved. Here's another curve that I had. And you can see here, see how that curve, it's holding that very nicely in there. So when we're sewing two together, we're able to adjust that consistently. Okay, so plates. This is the 10.5 inch. I have a 10 inch somewhere. I've got this over here. See how teeny tiny this is? It's not nearly as teeny tiny as some of my others. I've got much smaller than that. And I can't find any of my plates that hold this and hold this, or that these hold, but there are small plates that you can do. This is 100% cotton batting. I'm going to show you a project that's not 100% cotton batting. It's not for the microwave, but boy, it sure is fun to do as a gift, to put a gift card on, to put money in there, to put some candies, those kinds of things. Let me pull over the plates. So we had plates. Here's a plate. I liked for this one, because I have the bottom of the circle, Big Lots right there. Do you see that? I've got a circle that's a complete circle, and I just put that template on top and I was able to stitch around it. It just changes the look of it, but do you see how that fits? So I've got that one. This one, look how much bigger this is than this. It's okay, because I made those darts to fit this, and make these reversible. You know, you're going to change it up based on your mood. Too busy or just right? Do you like the wildness there, or is it too much? Do you want to have this here? Do you see how this, it kind of flattens it out? It's hard to tell, but this plate is a little bit too big. See those darts? I've got them a little bit too much. I mean, will it do in a pinch? Sure, but if I'm really going to make a set of these, then I want to change the darts to be accurate. And I want to choose the right size. Can you see this one? So this guy here, you can see those darts, and this is the square one, and see how it gives you a little bit more. So I'm just going to throw these out of the way. Okay, this does not match, but I wanted to show you, this is the 15 inch. This guy here for a plate. Now imagine croissants on here, or honey buns, or whatever it is. So do you see how that hugs really nicely? We're going to look at the bowl of this to see, because that's pretty big, and I really want to be holding it like this. If you've got a pot roast on here and you're going from the kitchen to the table, you know, holding this here, I'm going to show you handles too. The handles will make a difference as well. So you've got those plates. Let's get them out of the way. I want to show you some of the bowls so you can see the different sizes. And again, there's 8 sizes. Do your measurements of your bowls, of your plates, of your favorite pieces. If you've got a whole set, then do the measurement to figure out which size is going to be best for you. I have a lot of people that say, I don't care, I'm buying all of them. That way I can do for everything that I have. If you're making these and selling these like a lot of people do, then that's the way to go. Okay. This is the 12.5 inch. The 12.5 inch is great for kind of a standard table, a standard plate. But do you see this? A pasta bowl, an Asian bowl. You know, imagine having something that's, you know, in a bowl like this. And do you see how that just fits perfectly? These are the darts right here that the template has on there. The 12.5 inch is made to give that kind of a dart, because most of your bowls here are not going to be standing up, but you can have a bowl that's standing up. That's just another variation. Do you see how that sits in there? And you can flip these again, make them reversible if you want to do that. So 12.5 inch. This is the 10.5 inch square, and look how nicely that sits in there. And again, reversible, so if you change out your bowls. Do you see how this one with the curve sits in nicely? Taller, steeper bowl. I can swap these two out, but do you see how this versus this one is taller, so that's a little looser. No big deal, it still works. But if you're, again, making these for somebody that has a favorite set of china, then grab a bowl and say, let me make something custom just for you. I think that's a whole lot of fun to do too. All right, my sister, my mother, they all have dogs, and my sister told me she uses one that I made for her dog that was blind, who could not find the bowl, and when they found the bowl, it was a mess. Sloppy, water, food everywhere. So instead of using the dog bowls that you buy, it's loose, and that gets dumped over. Even if this was sitting tightly in there, it still gets dumped over. Use something heavy so that the dogs, cats, whatever it is, your animals, they're not going to be able to dump this over so easily. So I love this. My mother has a beautiful piece of china that she uses for hers, and it's just perfect. So don't just think about for us, but think about for your pets too. Let me pull over a couple that are variations on the theme. So the plastic bowls, if you're eating popcorn or those kinds of things, it's a steeper bowl. You can see how that fits. But really, if you're eating popcorn, let's eat it out of something fancy. And do you see how steep that is? And you can see this one is much steeper. So similar to the one that I showed you earlier, where I really grabbed, and I'm trying to find it, that one that I grabbed really tight earlier, that's the same style as this. It's going to look very much like this. So you can see how much steeper it is. So that holds the popcorn bowls and popcorn and all of that stuff. You can make, since these are pot holders for the microwave, basically, make a pot holder. This binding cannot be binding that you buy. This has to be binding that you've made. Why? 100% cotton fabric. Your binding that you buy is not 100% cotton. It's got some polyester in there, I think. But add the little hook on there so you can hang that, you know, in the kitchen somewhere. Remember when I talked about having handles? If you've got something and you're going to the table, have 2 handles here so you can see how nicely this is to carry. You can even carry it with one hand to the microwave, from the microwave, to the table, from the table. This bowl fits perfectly here. But I can put this one on here too. And Monkey has just come to join us. If y'all have watched any of my videos before, you might have seen Monkey. There's Monkey. She hadn't made an appearance at all today, and now she has to come join us. But do you see how the handles change everything? I love the handles. I thought, oh, if 2 handles is good, 1 is even better. No, don't do 1. In one of my videos, I said, make 1 handle. I want to show you why you don't want to do 1. Okay, here's a big bowl, way too big for this. But I've got my pasta, I've got my soup, I've got whatever it is. Watch when I put it down. What happened to the handle? It went right in. If it's chilly, this is a mess. And I'm definitely going to have to throw it in the washer and dryer. So remember, a handle from here to here, from a curve to a curve, or from a point to a point, and you do 2 handles across. Let me go back and show you that. Do you see that? So I had a dear friend that made this for me. She was the one that suggested the handle. I just love it. Okay, so handles 2, not 1. I thought this was great. I showed this on my Wild Wednesday Live. If you're doing a taco night, Taco Tuesdays or whatever, this is the big one. This is 15 inches, and that's the dart that's made for the 15 inches, because most of your bowls that are big don't stick up like that. But look, this is not round. Do you see how that fits in there perfectly? And if you're doing this with tacos, then get some of these guys, or make some really pretty towels and stick the pasta or the tacos inside of there. Now you've got something for everybody to eat out of. If you don't want to share with everybody and you're saying, nope, don't touch mine, then my friend Judy, she sent me these years ago, and she did Taco Tuesdays with the grandkids. So she made a little placemat, and she made these bowls for all of the grandkids. And everybody got their own set of chips. And then these are washable. You throw them in the washer. Now, I don't know if you can see, these are stiffer. She did not do 100% cotton batting. This is a stabilizer. This is not safe for the microwave, but I can throw it in the washer and dryer. So, you know, we're not heating up chips. This one here, I love, and there's Monkey again. So I hope you all are cat lovers like I am. So this guy here, you can see this is stiff and thick. This is fusible foam. We'll look at interfacing in a minute, but fusible foam, 2 layers. I love the foam. And again, make your own bowl for everybody to have with their chips. Not safe for the microwave, but it really gives nice stiffness. And you can actually put like a fusible vinyl on top of here where you're pressing that on so it's wipeable. Or you can use PUL, polyurethane laminate, and polyurethane laminate is not safe for the microwave either. Here's Monkey. So polyurethane laminate is not safe for the microwave either. This is Insulbright. Why did I do Insulbright? I love Insulbright. It's great to open things and get things out of the oven, but not safe for the microwave. But look, it's a bowl by itself. It stands up by itself and it keeps the shape. 100% cotton batting will not keep its shape. They're going to go flat. This pops back up again. I love that I can put my sewing tools in here. You noticed I used this one earlier with the bowl because I love this bowl. I think it's pretty. But do you see how that holds all that stuff too? So I don't even need a bowl. This is breakable. I drop things, so I don't need to break this. I have cats. They drop things. I don't need them breaking it. Same thing with this one. This is Timtex and Peltex. This, you can see how stiff this is. The guys at the trade shows would wear this as a bowl hat. This is not safe for the microwave, but it's safe for the keys. It's safe for the glasses. It's safe for the wallet. It's safe for all those things that the guys lose. And if they have a favorite sports team, then this is a thing for you to make. And make one for the front door, make one for the back door, so they have no excuse of where to put it. I want to show you this sample because I thought this was a good idea of the 10.5 inch versus the 10 inch. Can you see the bottom one? It's just a little bit smaller. Let's see if I can line them up a little bit better. 10.5 inches, 10 inches. There's not that much difference. It's basically a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but boy, when it is a layer cake 10-inch fabric that you have cut, then you cannot cut out the 10.5 inch. So the 10 inch is perfect. If you're a layer cake fanatic and you love buying all the bundles of the 10-inch fabrics, then that's great to go. But if you have bigger bowls, the 10.5 inch is probably about as small as you'd want to go. You may, again, do the measuring so you can see if you want to do the 10.5 inch versus the 12.5 inch even. Okay, so I talked about kitchen stuff, safe for the microwave. This is the 10.5 inch with an opening. What do we put inside of here? Corn, potatoes, cauliflower. Lisa was telling me about cauliflower that she made that was amazing. I don't eat cauliflower, so maybe I'll have to try it because maybe it's good enough. Inside of here, the corn, the potatoes, wrap them up. You wash the potatoes first, wrap them up in a paper towel. You can poke them or not poke them. I have directions for you on this if you want it. But 2 of these, this is the 10.5 inch template that you're just cutting out, and you're cutting out, and you're top stitching together. So that's the 10.5 inch. If you've got a bigger family or people like to eat corn or potatoes and a lot of it, then the 12.5 inch is the way to go. Notice what I have here, corn and potatoes, because it's a potato bag or we're having corn on the cob tonight. I love doing a solid inside so you can actually see what it is inside of here. So that's done with the 12.5 inch microwave bowl cozy. That's done with the 10.5 inch microwave bowl cozy. So those are fun to make as well. This little guy here, this is a mug rug. What did I do? I took the 6.5 inch template, and when I cut my fabric, I cut around. When I got to here, I moved this over and I cut around. You could make it longer if you wanted to. But that guy here, just a mug rug. So make it reversible too, so you can have fun with that. All right, I think I have covered most everything I wanted to cover. Ooh. Oh, nope, I haven't. A couple other things. And I want to make sure that I wrap everything up so you can see everything you need to see. Okay, so you notice here, this guy here, candy. Gift card down below, money down below, and put candy on top, whatever it is. And, you know, you'll find out if they actually go through the candy or not when they tell you, oh my gosh, thank you for the money or thank you for the gift card. I don't know if you can tell right here. This was a raw edge, and I just zigzag, zigzag, zigzag all the way around till I couldn't see the stitches anymore, or couldn't see the batting anymore. So if you're using white batting, which most of us have white batting, Black thread, you're still going to see little bits of white, so a black Sharpie. Black Sharpie will be able to do that. Now this is stiff, so is this safe for the microwave? No. This is for candy or for a gift card. Because it's stiff, it's not going to be safe for the microwave. But nobody says you have to make microwave bowl cozies only for the microwave. I'm a big proponent of using them for other things. This little guy here, I think this was my 7.5 inch. The 6.5 inch is great for a cup cozy. I had a brother and sister that said, you need to make a cup cozy. And I said, well, I have a coffee cozy. And they said, no, a cup cozy. Do you see how that cozy nests in my hand? We're in Florida. It is starting to get hot and muggy. And if I've got a drink that is cold and it sits in my hand, it's hot and it's dripping and it's a mess. Now I can walk around drinking my whatever it is, and everything stays nice and consistent, and I've got this nestled into my hand. There's Monkey making another appearance. This is a 6.5 inch. So again, 6.5 inch, 6.5 inch. Look at the darts there versus no darts. Okay, one more thing, batting. Batting, fusibles, all of those things. So 100% cotton batting. 100% cotton batting. Can you see the difference between this batting and this batting? This is thicker. This is heavier weight. This is thicker here. And I thought I had some thinner. So the thinner batting there. Can you see the difference there? If your machine fights you and doesn't like lots of bulk, don't get the heavier weight batting. I like Wrap and Zap just because it's available most everywhere. I sell it on my website and I have a bundle. Gives you the Microwave Bowl Cozy template, the 10.5 plus a yard of the batting plus a spool of the thread that's appropriate for you to use. We'll look at that thread too. Let's see if I can find it while we're talking. And all of that Wrap and Zap is a great weight, but you've got to know your machine and know if it can handle heavier weight. We're going to be sewing 2 of those layers together along with the cotton fabric and 2 layers of the cotton fabric. This is that fusible bosal that I love so much, and this one I actually did in one of the plates that I wanted to have as a serving plate to be able to have it nice and stiff and to hold up on its shape. Is this safe for the microwave? No, not at all. Same thing with the fusible fleece. This is fusible fleece. This has the glue on there. This stuff, they will catch on fire. It may just burn, not in flames, but you might see some brown, some brown, some brown. So do not do that unless you're doing my other thing like this, not safe for the microwave. This is SF101. I love SF101 in combination with things, but not safe for the microwave because there's that fusible glue on there. So anything that has a glue, anything that has a substance that you know is not going to be safe for the microwave is not a good thing. I mentioned the thread, and here's the thread that I like to use. If you look at the color here, Gutenberg, this is, or Gutermann, Gutermann threads, you can see it's kind of this orangish brown color. And they have white, they have green. When you go shopping for this, we want to look for, let's see if I can find it, 100% cotton. When we see that 100% cotton, then we know we are good to go. So this is the only kind of thread you should be using, 100% cotton. You don't have to buy Gutermann, but again, it's available locally, and I sell this on my website too. I have a bunch of different colors. This is not safe for the microwave. This is a stuff that we've been using for years. They do make 100% cotton threads. A lot of you quilters love to use cotton threads. Just make sure that it's 100% cotton, not a cotton blend. Okay, now I think I've told you everything I want to tell you. So back to the sizes of the templates. 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 12.5, 15. All of those sizes. I'm going to come out with a 14 inch because some dinner plates are a little bit larger than others, but not so big. So I'm going to come out with a 14 inch as well. So be on the lookout for that. But these are rounded corners. The rounded corners give you that little bit of a difference of a look. You can see here, there's the darts that we'd be cutting off. It just gives you a different look. And then I have for the squares, now the 10 inch, the 10.5 inch, and the 12.5 inch. You'll have to let me know, would you like the squares in the same sizes? 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 12.5, and 15, and then the added 14. Would you like that? If you would like that, I will make them for you, because I want to be introducing more and more templates to give you what you need. I'm open to whatever it is you would like, and I'll do my best to get you what you need. So where can you find all of this stuff? winnerdesigns.com is my website. You'll see all the information below, so read the information below. Be sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I do giveaways, and right now I have a big giveaway when I get to 30,000 subscribers. You have to subscribe. When I get to 30,000 subscribers, you can go watch the video, big giveaways. There's 2 big giveaways. I'm going to pick one person that has subscribed and let them know, hey, send me your mailing address and I will get this shipped out to you. Same thing on Facebook. My Facebook is Winner Designs, that's the name of the business, Winner Designs for, F-O-R, Sewing and Quilting, and the and is the ampersand sign. So Winner Designs for Sewing and Quilting. You can follow me on Facebook. I'm doing a giveaway there as well. Facebook, I have no idea between likes and follows. I mentioned earlier, if you know anything about Facebook, let me know. And if you want to work for me part-time, let me know, because I need somebody to help me with social media, because I don't get it. But I have right now 7,900 something likes. I've got 8,400 something followers. So maybe they're not doing likes anymore. So I have a big giveaway when my likes get up to 8,000. So I'll be doing the same giveaway there too. I try to post videos. I try to post projects. I try to post pictures of my kitties. There's Monkey over there. The studio, the space that I'm working in. You can't see what I'm seeing, but the whole camera system here. I have a team of people that are just amazing, and that includes my husband, Philip, who is the man behind all of this. He dreamed up this studio for me and said he was going to build me the Taj Mahal. Now it's, I don't want to say redneck, but it's a country Taj Mahal, but it is amazing. If you haven't seen my studio and you're close by, you'll have to give me a call and we'll arrange a time for you to come see my studio. But I try to post pictures of that on Facebook and new videos and new projects and things like that too. So be on the lookout for that as well. I always have a discount code. So if you don't know the discount code, just go watch some videos and you'll see discount codes. Read below, you'll see discount codes. If you buy anything from me, there's a handout with a discount code. I've got a bunch of them floating out there. And if you ever see me on Wild Wednesday Live, then you know I do a discount code there as well. That one's just for a limited amount of time, but there's always a discount code. If you're not sure about the discount code, pick up the phone and call me. Linda, I want the discount code. Phone is better than email. Sometimes my website drops all of my emails, and then 2 months later I get 1,000 emails and I think, oh, people are going to be angry because I didn't answer them. So phone. If you need to get me, if you have a question, you want to do a special order, pick up the phone and call me. I'll have my phone number down below as well, so let me know how I can help. Thank you guys so much for sticking out this whole time with me. I hope you got the information you needed for the Microwave Bowl Cozies, for the plate cozies, for all the different things you can do with these templates, and go watch my other videos. I've got 200 plus for you to go a little crazy. So have a good time making whatever it is your heart desires, and I hope you love the no slipping, no kidding templates as much as I do. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.